Now here's your host, Tom Dirato.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Eddie Sutton Show. It was a roll-age kind of week last week. I tell you, the old stress meter was working overtime, down to the wire decisions, both on the road and at home, and that's a little tough on the coaches, isn't it?
It's tough on everybody, fans, players, coaches, broadcasters. We go to Austin in a big game. They beat us 73-70 in a game that, you know, if we don't win the league, it'll be a game we'll look back on because we had a chance to beat the Longhorns. Came back home, had a non-conference game with Southern Mississippi, and really was a tough game. 65-64, we won that ball game, but two tough games. You
know, it's Big 12 basketball the rest of the way now, and a quick look at the standings will tell you it's up for grabs for about 5 or 6, maybe 7 teams.
I think all 6 of those teams have a legitimate shot at winning the crown. You'd have to get hot and run off a lot of wins, but all those are good basketball teams, and the thing about it, you got to play each other, so somebody's going to get beat.
As you look down at that bottom, they're trying to separate, and they will as we go along, but a lot of 5-2 teams. Every time you play, the standings turn over, but we'll get to that here in a second. We have a couple of nail biters to show you, so sit back and relax. We have all the highlights after this opening timeout.
Spurs. Welcome back to the Eddie Sutton Show. Now back to Coach and Tom.
Well, indeed, welcome back to the show. Eddie, from day one, you said Texas had a better team than its early season would reflect, and we found that out. We saw that talent up close and personal in Austin.
There are a lot of us that think that Texas may have the best starting team in the Big 12. Very athletic. I think their chemistry's good. I think the reason they lost games in the early going was the fact that they have a new coach and they had to get adjusted to him, and also the schedule was extremely difficult.
Well, you're going to see here for the umpteenth time, and I know this drives you guys crazy, we got behind early and had to play catch-up, but the fact is we had a nice run about maybe 3 or 4 minutes right before half and seemed to take control of the basketball game.
I thought we were in great shape. During that 5 or 6 minute period, whatever it was, when we went on that run, we played well in all areas of the game and got an 11-point lead. Ended up just going to halftime with a 6-point lead, but Desmond Mason was on fire. I mean, he did a great job of getting open, and when he was open, he was able to convert the shots. He had 20 points at intermission second half. They made some adjustments, and we couldn't get the ball to him as much. He only scored 4, but he was high point man with 24. Nice shot there by Joe Atkins.
Took it right at Mim, and boy, has he improved, hasn't he?
Well, Mim is he's going to be in the NBA one of these days. I'm sure some of the coaches in our league like to see him go right now because he's very talented and he has gotten a lot better. I think their coaches have done an excellent job working with him. But they've got some other players that are just outstanding. That's one of them right there, Clack, but a great steal there by Brian Montanani. And boy, Brian Montanani is playing good right now. He played well in this game. And in our last game with the Southern Miss, he played very well. In fact, we've been contemplating starting him. He's practiced. He's been doing very good job for us.
I know you came close to even putting him in the starting lineup against Southern Miss, and you know he seems to have a better attitude about things. This was something of a coming-out party for Brian because he was right in the middle of that 18-2 run.
There's a great feed by Atkins off to Brian, and if you run the floor hard, in transition, you got a chance to score, and he's one of the best at getting from baseline to baseline.
We had control of the basketball game at this point. Again, actually built it up to 39-28. You see us getting down in the final minutes of the first half, and we let a little bit of it get away.
Well, what happens, we give up an easy basket to them, and then we come back, and they hit a tray at just as the buzzer's going off, and that's a psychological play. When you let a team score just before halftime, let that home crowd get back in the game.
And then with the give and take, really, the second half. They didn't do anything exotic to Desmond as much as they just paid him a lot more attention.
Paid a lot more attention, and I think when he did come open, they switched on the play. So I think that they did a nice job defensively. That was our biggest downfall. Our defense has been carrying us all season, and in the second half, our pivot defense was almost non-existent. I mean, we just let Mim and Clack post up down there, and we ended up giving up 10 offensive rebounds. When they did miss, they were able to put some baskets back in the hoop.
There was a long shot there by Alex. You know, we talked on the radio show about you guys even contemplating for a while maybe going to a zone, but the contain was not that good on the perimeter. I'm not so sure a zone would have had a whole lot to do with it.
I mentioned pivot defense, and a lot of the baskets they got were a result of dribble penetration, forcing the man, covering the man in the low post area to help, and then kicking the ball off for an easy shot. If I had it to do over again, you know, we certainly would have looked at the zone for a little bit just to see what they would do against it, because most of their points were coming from, you know, down low in the paint area.
We actually had a 3-point lead with about 4 minutes to go. I believe you're going to see this shot right here. Pete hits a 3, and you thought, hey, we got the momentum right
here
back.
Here it is right here. We got a 3-point lead, and it looks like that, you know, 4.5 minutes to go. We got the lead. Now let's play some defense, and we don't do that. They come back here on a missed shot. There's Mim. I think he's had 5 games in a row where he's had a double-double.
Well, he's hard to handle, no question about it. He has much improved.
We come right back. We still got a 1-point lead, and I think this is bad judgment on well,
this is actually in the final seconds of the game right here.
We came back, what I started saying, and Pete took maybe a shot that should have been taken, and then we get back down. We're 3 down and get 2 shots, and both of them get blocked. Disappointing loss, because we probably played well enough maybe to beat Texas. And right now, when you look at all the games that are left, Texas has got a great chance of winning the Big 12, because they've been to some tough places already, and the schedule certainly favors them.
And we're back here right now for the final non-conference game of the year, and they are not supposed to be this tough.
Now, another slow start on our part. We missed our first 7 shots, and all of a sudden I call a timeout, and we're down 10-2.
I know that drives you guys crazy as a staff, but this has been really the common malady all year long. I mean, come out of the gate and not really take charge of the game until about 6 or 7 minutes are gone.
Well, it's a mystery to the coaching staff, let's put it that way, because it's a new experience for me, because my teams through the years have always done a good job of coming out and jumping on people, and this ball club just has a tendency to start a little slow at times.
You need actually for me to deliver that pregame speech.
We may let you do that when we play A&M this Saturday afternoon.
Well, I will try to get my point across here, but once we finally got going now, we did get it going.
Doug Gottlieb has been playing very well for us, but in this game, not only did he play good defense and run the ball club and handle the basketball, you know, he's the leader in assists nationally, and there's a great example of his passing instincts off to Brian Montanani. But in this game, he scored 15 points, which really we needed him, because Pete only had 2 points, Desmond had 13. The 2 guys have really been carrying us, but you had Montanani step up and get 10 points in this ball game. Doug had 15. Alex had a good ball game. He was able to get 5 rebounds and 11 points.
I see we've got that 5-point lead at halftime. In a game like this, 5, 6, 7-point leads were like double-digit leads.
James Green and Coach Reed, their assistant, really have done a good job with this ball club. I can see how they played Cincinnati to a 2-point game, 54-52, and they've won some other ball games. I think they're about in the middle of the pack in the Conference USA. Very good defensive team, very disciplined, very patient offensively. They coach the game a lot like, you know, we played when I was here. Mr. Iva, you know, that's the way he taught the game. They don't run very much in transition, but they're a great half-court offensive ball club. One of the keys in this game, they've got an outstanding guard, one of the best we'll face all year long, in Reed, and we kept people fresh on him. He's averaging 18 points, and he was only 4 out of 17 from the field, but Atkins, Peterson, and Mason all had a part of that, and they just smothered him, just didn't give him any good looks. And that was a real key in our winning this ball game. I
think they took him out 2 or 3 times in the game, and you could see maybe just to calm the frustration, because he really had no space at all to operate.
This is late in the game, and you know, every mistake late in a ball game is magnified. If you turn it over, you miss free throws. But we hit our free throws down the stretch, and that allowed us to win the basketball game.
Invariably, a close game like this will come down to hitting free throws, and You had the right guys on the free throw line down the stretch. I want to get back to Doug real quickly. No secrets to his success against Southern Miss. He was definitely under control, and that's really when he's at his best.
Well, he knows how the game should be played because his father's a coach, and he's been around the game a long time. And sometimes he has a tendency to want to do things too quickly or try to do things maybe that aren't sound. But when he plays like he did against Southern Miss, he's an outstanding point guard. Well,
the Cowboys now have ended the non-conference portion of the season at 9-3, won 8 of the last 10, 10 of the last 13. You know, it all comes down to talent. That's going to be the focus of this week's off-the-court feature. We have that for you when we come back. You know, there's an old saying that good players make good coaches. That's true at all levels of coaching and emphatically underlines the importance of recruiting. While the casual fan only becomes interested in this aspect of college athletics around signing day, in all reality, it is a year-long process. Recruiting has undergone a major facelift in recent years, but as assistant coach Paul Graham fully understands, it's still the lifeblood of every program around the country. Well, Paul, there's no doubt the recruiting landscape has changed dramatically over the last few years. How has the change affected your job?
Well, the biggest change is you can't spend as much time with the prospective student athletes as you could some years ago. And what that does to you, it doesn't allow you an opportunity to see really what type of player and individual the young man is. In the old days, you could see a student athlete a number of times and find out, you know, what's inside of him and find out a lot more about him as a person as well as an athlete. And you can't do that now based on the windows that you have to see that particular player.
Recruiting has always been an inexact science. There are no guarantees when you bring a youngster to your program that that youngster is either going to be a success or a failure. You have absolutely no way of knowing.
Well, again, based on the time you have to spend with the individual, based on the times you have to see the individual, it is a hit and miss situation. You don't have any idea what's going to happen to a young man, how hard he's going to work, injuries, a lot of things are factored into whether he's going to be a successful athlete at the collegiate level that we would like for him to be.
You know, people say, why don't we recruit that 1 in a million big man? Why don't we go after that scoring machine who can play outside, inside? Fact is, we do. And that's basically what we're doing right now, but we're always in a battle with somebody else.
Well, what happens is I want our fans to understand that we've recruited some of the best players in the country. Chauncey Billup visited our campus the night we played the University of Kansas on national television, who went on to the University of Colorado, who now plays in the NBA. Maceo Bastion, who's one of the best big players in the country, who went to Michigan. Miles Simon, Coach Sutton and I visited in his home, and he was coming to visit our campus, but he signs with the University of Arizona. So we've gone after that marquee player. We just maybe haven't been able to get a lot of them. Although Desmond Mason was heavily recruited out of high school, Adrian Peterson was heavily recruited out of high school, and even Alex Weber was heavily recruited out of high school. And DeJuan Baker, we signed him, you know, early. He didn't make his grades. He went to a junior college and ended up having an outstanding year at the University of Cincinnati. But the key in recruiting, number one, is finding out who can help you win and who can you get, so you won't spend a lot of time, effort, and money in pursuing athletes that you can't get.
Talking about recruiting, it's 24-hour-a-day job every day of the year. Even though they're just certain periods that are designated for contact, you're on the trail all the time. Well,
you have to be, because that's our lifeblood, is recruiting. Good players make you good coaches, and it's an ongoing process. It's a 24-hour-a-day process, 7 days a week, Sundays, Mondays, holidays. You're always writing letters, making phone calls, traveling the roads, trying to find the best players that will allow you a chance to stay successful. So it never stops, and it's a never-ending process.
Tell us about future Cowboy Andre Williams. What kind of a year is he having now?
Andre Williams is a 6'9", forward center type player that plays at Maine Central Institute. It's a prep school up in Pittsfield, Maine, which is probably the most elite prep school in the country. His coach name is Max Good. It's a very prestigious program, very successful program. Andre is a 6'9" athlete that's comparable to Desmond Mason, but taller. I would compare him maybe, and I don't want our fans to take this literally, but he would be somebody comparable to Kenyon Martin at University of Cincinnati. He's a great athlete. He can run, he can jump, he can really block shots. A couple of days ago, his coach called, Coach Sutton and I, and told us that that Andre, that is, had 29 points, 17 rebounds, and 10 blocks. And he's playing very, very well, and he'll be a welcome addition to our program when he gets here.
Paul, you have literally paid your dues in this coaching business. Now it's a matter of getting that big break that you need to become a head man somewhere.
Well, that's my goal, and working for Coach Sutton and working with Sean and Randall, we have an outstanding coaching staff. I mean, Coach Sutton says everybody's a role player, just like our team and our coaching staff is the same way. And he designates certain avenues that each one of us must do, and we do those things, and hopefully through that he prepares you to become a head coach. I feel like I've served my time and done my apprenticeship under Coach Sutton that will allow me to be successful at the next level as being a head coach, so that's what I would like to do.
And along that same line, obviously you have one of the better assistants jobs in the country, and again, coaching right here at Oklahoma State is a good grooming grounds for a head coach.
Well, that's been proven. I mean, Coach Sutton has sent 11, 12 other guys out to become head coaches, and all those guys have been very successful. I have a great situation here at Oklahoma State. Like I said, Sean and Randall and working with a good staff is good for me. I like the city of Stillwater. I like the league. I like a lot of things about it. My wife likes it. My kids like it. So it's a good situation for me. So until something comes down the road that is really, really good, I hope to be around here a long time.
As always, thanks for the visit.
Thank you, TD.
It's a nice piece. You know, I've been blessed with so many wonderful student athletes and really some outstanding assistant coaches who've gone on to run their own programs, and Paul's done a great job for us and is deserving of a head coaching position. They're not as easy to come by as people might think, but he certainly will make a very, very good head coach one of these days, and I just hope that if we go on and have a successful season and something opens and there's a job there that he likes, we'll hope he can get the job for him.
Well, we still have the notebook and our Ask Eddie Sutton segment left to cover. Don't go away. We are back, and it's time to get right to the notebook. A couple items here I think of interest, certainly topical in nature. Our numbers game, and a lot of talk about how many teams from the Big 12 might get in the big dance this year.
Kevin Weiberg, the new commissioner of the Big 12, was here this week, and we visited, and you know, we got hurt a lot in November, December, but not doing very well against people from other conferences, so our power rating's not as high as it has been in the past. I don't think you can really put a number on it right now. I would say 4. It could be less, it could be more, and a lot of that depends on what happens the remainder of the season, what other people do in other conferences.
Kind of creates a little urgency, I think, for all the teams as we head into the second half of the season. Next item, a bright future. You've said this all along. There are a lot of young teams in this league this year.
I think that's one reason the Big 12, if it's down, it's because there are so many young players. Our ball club is a young team. You know, when you look at it, Peterson's the only one we're losing, and you can trace a lot of the other ball clubs, and the same thing. They're going to return a lot of good players next year, so the Big 12 has a bright future. We're
talking this next item, early birds, and this is going to be true the rest of the way. Get the Gallagher-Iba early.
Well, with construction, people need to get there because you can only go in the south and the east doors, and I hope that they'll get there early just to help our ball club. You know, when the team comes out 30 minutes before the game, a lot of places, the place is packed and they're cheering, and that's really a great thing for the young men. And a lot of times our fans get there, they're kind of like a country club set, and they need to get there to help our team, but they need to get there because it's going to be crazy around there with that construction going on.
Well, this week's internet question from oakstate.com, presented by Southwestern Bell, has to do with whether you're going to be an author or not. Are you going to write a book?
When I quit coaching, Tom and Paul, I'll tell you this, I am going to write a book, and I'm looking forward to doing that. In fact, I've debated about doing it a couple times, but I think I'm going to have to wait till I quit coaching. Quickly,
A&M, the next opponent, 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon. They won 2 in a row and gave us all we wanted at College Station.
Be a tough game. I hope our fans get there early, and let's beat the Aggies.
That's all the time we have for this week's show. We appreciate you being with us. For Eddie Sutton, our entire crew here at Educational Television Services, Tom Dirato. Goodbye, everybody.